Hello everyone and welcome to a new series called Forgotten Legends. Forgotten Legends. This is going to be a series compiled of cars that you probably have never heard of or seen before that you really should. And these cars are all pretty epic and pretty incredible. And to start off, we are going through the JDM versions today with 10 of the best unknown cars that you've never heard of. Now we're kicking this off with a strong contender, the Nissan S12. Now this is a car that is a predecessor to the S15, 14 and 13. The S12 you may not have heard of before, produced between 1983 and lasted until 1989. This car came with a variety of engines, from a 1.8 litre CA18 DET, which was a inline turbo, or you could get up to a 3 litre VG30E, a V6, compiled with either a 5-speed manual or a 4-speed auto. This car goes by many names: the 180, the 190, the 200 SX, or in Japan, the name that I think is the best, the Nissan Gazelle. Now this car I do really like the look of, and you can see where they were going with the S13 and 14 from this car. The next car is a Toyota Starlet GT, and specifically the P80 series. Now this car was produced from 1989 to 1995, and this car is pretty incredible. Now it's a tiny little car with engines from a 999cc all the way up to a 1.4 inline 4. Now this car came with 4-speed or a 5-speed manual, or if you really wanted, a 3-speed or a 4-speed automatic. And this car came with a variety of models, and the best one being the GT Turbo, with the GT Turbo having the engine the 4E FTE, which was a pretty banging motor for this little car. Next up we have the Datsun 510, or the Datsun Bluebird, sold from 1968 to 1973, and this car also was called the 1300, 1500 or 1600, and you could get it in a 2 or 4 door sedan or a 5-door wagon, or estate as we call it in England. And the engines you could get all the way from a 1.3 litre inline 4 to a 1.8 litre inline 4 engine. Now this car's popularity came from its rallying heritage, which allowed Nissan to sell many more of these on an international scale, making them a pretty famous little car. But again, in this day and age you may not have heard of it, as it is quite uncommon nowadays, but I think it is a pretty cool looking little car, and I would be honoured to own one if I could find one. Next up we have the Mazda Eunice Cosmo, or the Series JC, produced from 1990 to 1996. Now this was a luxurious car back then, and to show that, it only came with a 4-speed auto. Now nowadays that might not seem very impressive, but back then this was all the luxury in the world that you could ask for, as this car was loosely based off the MX-03 concept car on the new JC platform. Now this is a 2+2, and this luxury theme continued even further for an electronically controlled 4-speed auto, which I've said before, but this was, if you were looking for luxury, this is the car for you, and I'm not gonna lie, it does look pretty sleek. Following this luxury theme we have the Nissan President HG50, produced from 1990 to 2002, and this is off the G50 platform from the Infiniti Q45, and this again is a luxurious car, and this is something I would love to own if I could find one in England, because I can only find the new ones and I'm not a fan. But this one from the 90s is a forgotten legend that you should definitely check out. And again, with this luxurious theme of 90s Japanese cars, a 4-speed auto is to suit, with a 4.5 litre V8 under that bonnet. that extra large bonnet. And you can get a shorter wheelbase or the long wheelbase. President was a brilliant alternative to the rivals from Infiniti and Lexus. But again, this Nissan President has something just a bit unique about it, which I think you should definitely check out. Sticking with these luxurious cars, we next have a Toyota Century. And this car is another level of luxury. From 1997 to 2017, this car was produced for 20 years. Now, and you can definitely see that in the way this thing looks. It looks incredible. And it was so good they continued the Century for another lineup in 2018. However, this car did come again with the 4-speed auto, or if you bought it more recently, between 2005 and 2016, you could get a 6-speed automatic. And the engine in this was something else. It was a 5-litre 1JZ FE V12. Now, if you don't know what luxury is, that is just it summed up in the Toyota Century. Now, this car, I think, absolutely soils the Nissan President, but I kind of prefer the President over the Century. But again, if you have the opportunity and if you are unsure and want to like these cars, this is a definite forgotten legend over from Japan. Next up, we have the Mazda RX3, or I think this is a much better name in Japan, the Mazda Grand Familia. And this car was produced from 1971 to 1978 and the predecessor to the RX-7 with a Wankel rotary powered engine. And you could again get a 2-door, 4-door or a 5-door from a coupe all the way up to a estate car. Now, the engine you could get in this again was a 12A Wankel or a 12B Wankel, or the smaller engines being a 1.2 litre inline 4. And this is where the legendary Wankel rotary engine that provided the RX-7 with so much fame came from this, the Mazda RX3. And again, this car had many a name: the Savannah, the RX3 or the Grand Familia. And this definitely has some tuning potential just looking at it. It is small, little powerful, and has a crazy little engine. So definitely check one of these out if you can afford it or find one. 100% I think it'd be worth it. Next up, another epic little tuner car. We see the Nissan 200ZR or the Fairlady Z or the ZZ31. Produced from 1983 to 1989, and this car was pretty epic. The best engine that you could get in it was the 2-litre RB20 DET. Now, if you know what the RB series is, you definitely know this is a good engine in this car. As the 300ZX went from a straight 6 to the V6, this is the straight 6 model series, and you could get it in a 5-speed manual only or the 4-speed auto. And this is a compact little sports car from Japan that definitely should be having more love, especially with the RB powered 6-cylinder inline turbo. It is something to be reckoned with, and I think I prefer this to the more modern 300ZX just because of the fact that it has pop-up headlights. Next, we have something a bit more unusual, and here we have a Kcar. The Kcar in Japan mainly was a tiny little car to get around. I think it was some emission laws, but don't quote me on that. I do apologize if I'm wrong. Now, this car had a 600cc engine, an inline 3 turbo and a 5-speed manual, and it was mid-engined, rear wheel drive, gull-wing doors, a 2-door coupe. This is everything any car guy or car girl would want. Produced from 1992 to 1994, the AutoZam AZ1 is a fantastic little car. As well as this car is known as many other things, as it was manufactured by Mazda under the Autozan brand. However, Suzuki provided the engine, so later on Suzuki made a version of their own called the Suzuki Kcar. And then last but certainly not least, we have the 1988 Mitsubishi Starion. Now this car produced from 1982 to 1989, and specifically here the 1988 model. A two-door coupe with either a 2-litre turbo inline 4 or a 2.6-litre inline 4 turbo with a 5-speed manual or a 4-speed auto. And this car did come with a wide body, which definitely increased the width by a whole almost 2 inches. And this is definitely a car you should check out, with its successor being the Mitsubishi GTO and the Mitsubishi Eclipse. All takes its route back to this Mitsubishi Starion, and I can see why. It's a brilliant little car that, if you can, again, check it out, and this forgotten legend will go down in history. Now that is all we have time for today, the 10 JDM legends that you might have never heard of. So if you like this video, please press like. If you enjoyed the video, please press subscribe for new content coming every single day. And this will be becoming a series of forgotten cars. And I hope to see you all in the next one and the next video tomorrow. See you then. Until then, peace.